I hope to be inspiring. Like, all jokes aside, like, yeah, I mean, it is funny, like I told you so, but I mean, also, I'm like, that's fine. Like, go for it. You should be flattered. You should. Yeah. You should do it. Like, let's go. Let's build cooler things. I'm tired of gray apartments, too. Like, if you want to build something cool right next to mine, you do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
But also, like, do it better.
I'll just do it. Yeah, I mean, I just have to be better.
That's been commonly said in our house.
Okay. You've got Britt and Jonathan in the house.
Yes.
You guys have probably the coolest, like, aesthetically pleasing projects that you guys work on. The Lumen House, even down to the cow that you guys have is like curly hair.
Yeah.
So appreciate you guys coming on. Just to give everybody a backstory, who were you guys before you started investing in real estate?
You go first.
Okay. It's really interesting. I actually wanted to go into ministry, and that's kind of where I started my career. I met somebody on an airplane who was like, you should sell real estate. He was a home builder in North Carolina. I was actually doing a job in California, and he was like, hey, you should come work for me, sell real estate in North Carolina. It paid a lot better than the ministry job did. So I was like, I mean, I guess, like, let's do it. And I moved out here and started selling new construction houses. That was like my very first job out of college.
Very cool.
Yeah. And so I bought my first house that year. I had just turned 20, and I bought my first house and then rented out all the rooms. And that was kind of before, like, the house hacking thing really became like a coined term. Yeah. And I was doing that unknowingly. And kind of just started rolling. That way I would like try to get a rental once a year, once every 18 months, move, rent the previous house out. And I was kind of on that roll. And then we met. Yeah. And you kind of knew how to do everything. So
yeah, kind of grew up like hands-on everything. Mine works that way too.
Yeah.
I can figure things out pretty well. But when we met, I was living on an airport in a camper, jumping out of airplanes for a living. And that was it. I was quite literally a bum. Just skydiving, and then
as a skydive instructor, or
I did videography. I worked as management team for the skydiving facility.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. That's all I was doing. I lived
That's
there.
So cool.
I lived there. I ate there. I shopped there. I never left.
You never left the airport?
Yeah, no, actually, we met at my cousin's wedding, and it was honestly one of the first times I'd been off the airport, other than to like go out to eat in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a lucky trip.
It was a lucky trip. Yeah. Yep. And then we met, and like, it got serious pretty quick in a great way. And I was like, man, I might have to find something other than skydiving. So obviously she had this real estate thing down pat, and I could fix anything. So it worked out well. But we bought our first house together, was a live-in flip that we gutted completely. And I think we had our first child and I came home from the hospital like the day we had her and gutted the kitchen.
Wow.
Down to the studs. So
when was this?
2019.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Got you. She was born in 2019.
Phil. It's okay.
No.
It was so funny though too, because the kitchen was like the middle of the house and the master bedroom was an addition. And so, but first child, I like nest this whole nursery all the way at the other dang end of the house. Like a noob. Now I know they just are with you, like the first 2 years of life. But anyways, so the master bedroom, and then he gutted the kitchen down to the studs. So in order to like go to her diaper changing station, again, like first kid, I didn't know. We would walk outside all the way around the house.
Stop.
Yeah.
Or you would
middle of the night.
Or if it was cold outside, you would just balance beam across the joist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the funny part too is like the pantry was in the middle of the kitchen. So to get anything out of the pantry, you had to walk across the studs, which we still kept using. We didn't really have a choice.
We kind of thought it was comical.
It was fun. I enjoyed it more than you did, I think. But I'd also come from a camper previously, so
it was a huge upgrade.
Still an upgrade. Dirt outside, who cares?
That's awesome.
We cooked on a grill outside for a couple months.
Scrambled eggs on the grill.
Scrambled eggs, casseroles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
So you were 20 at the time. You bought a house and you were renting out the room, kind of stepping back a little bit.
Yeah.
Where did you get this idea?
So it wasn't incredibly educated, actually. I was selling houses, so I saw like kind of the way that it worked. Mm-hmm. And so I started to understand the real estate transaction process. And then I was renting. And so I was just like looking at it from a budgetary perspective. And I was like, well, this makes a lot of sense. And this was 2012. So there were a bunch of first time home buyer like incentives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that first mortgage was with BB&T and they had 0% interest and no PMI.
What?
Or sorry, not 0% down. Sorry. 0% down.
Still.
No PMI. And I think my rate was like right at 4%. So it was like a pretty reasonable rate. And I had heard about that through the grapevine just of working in real estate. And I was like, I've never bought a house. Like I would qualify for this. And so my budget was like $112,000, which at the time, I mean, I also didn't get you that much then either. But
that's wild.
Yeah, I got like a little 3-bedroom starter house. Not a great side of town. Just 3 girls just living.
Clueless.
Yeah, we had no idea. We were oblivious, honestly. We thought it was great. Yeah, and so then I would just move periodically. Like then I would start to save up because I was renting out the space. Then I would start to save up money and then I would buy another place. And so I think at the time, and that had gone on for like 7 or 8 years until I met you. And so I had sold some, bought some more. I think when we met, we had 2 or 3. I can't recall, honestly.
I think it was 3.
Yeah, maybe. And, then we started, once we got married, we Airbnb'd my apartment. So at one point I was living in an apartment too. Frankly, I was making more off renting the houses. Yeah. And so then I was living in an apartment, house hacking still. And then we started Airbnbing out the apartment. So I don't know. I just like, for me, when I look at the math, I don't mind being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm like,
obviously, with the more choice.
We're spoiled now, though.
Yeah, I know.
We can't go back.
Well, actually, we still rent our house out with all 3 children.
Your current house?
Yeah.
Stop. Really?
Oh, yeah. All the kids' furniture is on casters. We just really
Pack it up and move it out.
Yeah.
On Airbnb or like
the event space
to the venue.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So specific weekends, we can kind of pick and choose when it is. And in some cases, we just rent out like one room.
Backstory for those who don't know, we own a wedding event venue. We live on site. So we have a home on site. And yes, I'm jumping the gun a bit, but people have asked us to rent our home out. And again, I can't say no. So just no boundaries with real estate. So
just about everything we've done has kind of been built around business too. Like when we built this house, like the intention was like, we're going to build another house. This house will be part of the venue.
Of course.
And so like now we're going to rent it out too. And
oh yeah. It's such a great upsell too, because people will need a place to stay coming in for a wedding. What better than all in the same location?
That has been very true. It's definitely, and that's, as we talk about growth and stuff, like part of what we look at from the venue perspective is we don't need to look at the value we're making off the house. We need to look at like, it gives us an extra booking for the venue, which now pays for the house the whole month.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
That one extra day.
That's awesome. The house that we just moved from, we had an Airbnb in the basement. We did that for 3 years and it was great. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Having strangers coming in and out in the basement. There was a separate access, but we got into this new house and I was looking at it. And for a brief moment, I was like, we could totally rent out this bottom part here. There's separate access. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can't. I can't do it. I
know. And it's so hard though I think it's hard to adjust your mindset when you hustle for so long. And then to be like, oh, I can actually breathe. And I don't even know how to just like enjoy and chill.
Yep.
And like take a moment and like appreciate the fruits of your labor and not have to like arbitrage every little thing,
Absolutely. That's going to be one of those things that your kids talk about when they grow up. Like, yeah, our bed was on casters. And when mom was rolling it out into the living room, we knew.
I just hope it's a good memory. They're not telling their counselor.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome. Okay. So you talked about it, the event space.
Yeah.
Just let's fast forward. What are you guys into today? And what gets you excited in real estate?
Yeah, I think actually from that first Airbnb that we did, which was 2017, so it was still like very new, we were like, okay, we love hosting and we really like building cool stuff. Like we both are passionate about design. And so it just made sense. Like we talked about it a lot, prayed about it a lot, and we were like, okay, like if we combine these things, having a venue makes a lot of sense because it allows us a lot of latitude to design a space that's really special and you get to host families.
Yeah.
And there were like a lot of other like little like encouraging signs along the way over the last few years. It's like, okay, like this is what you guys are supposed to be doing. But that was kind of how it all came to be.
Yeah,
I feel like you have some other like nuggets for you that were big.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it actually answers the question you asked, but like we've tried to do not necessarily the venue, but basically what we've done a few other times, lost a lot of money trying it. And it's always looked a little bit different, but kind of on everything that we've tried, like it went, one direction and then it went back the other, but the venue has kind of always stayed in the middle of it. And it was always a moneymaker. And so it was never our original dream to build a venue, but everything that we tried to do was like, venue makes sense. And it's like really what it became was like, and everything else that is cohesive with the other things we've tried is like bringing people together. Yeah. Like that's always been something that's just fallen in line. And we had almost given up on it after one time we tried to buy a property, lost a bunch of money, fell through. We were like, all right, we're done. Let's just buy some land, build a house for ourselves and just, we'll figure something out. And God almost kind of forced it to work. Like we didn't want 50 acres. We wanted 20 acres. And it was one of the only pieces of property available. And the owner told us, he's like, yeah, I'll subdivide. Send him an offer. And he responded with, no, I'm not going to subdivide. Well, what the heck? And so we were like, well, what can we do? Like, we want your land. It's beautiful. We love it. We've fallen in love with it.
It's like 2021. Everyone was moving to the country.
Yeah,
there really was not. It was slim pickings.
Yeah. And he's like, well, we'll owner finance it. So like,
there you go.
We've heard of that before. We can make that work.
Yeah. I can't say no to owner financing.
And then it was funny.
I'm too much of like a real estate investor. I'm like, I don't care what it is.
Yes.
It could be anything. If you're going to owner finance, I'll take it.
Yep.
He didn't even finish the word finance. No.
Yes. Whatever that means. Yeah. And so we were actually under contract, I believe. You might disagree with this, but this is how I remember it. We were under contract for like 2 weeks and I'd been thinking about it since day one and I thought you had already thought about it. And I was like, well, I mean, we can put the venue over here. And you're like, oh my God, like it can work. We can do that. And I was like, wow. You haven't thought of that yet? Like, yeah, I thought we had talked about that. We were under contract. And I was like, how were you expecting it to work out and be able to afford this property? Yeah.
Just like, I don't know. I'm like, owner finance.
Yeah, it works.
La land. Okay, I think that you're so right. We tried it a few different times and it always, like every iteration took a little bit of a different shape, but it really did always have an emphasis on like bringing people together. And this was like, we had 3 failed attempts specifically. And so I think that you get to a place where you're like, okay, I know that this is something that I want to do, but it's not coming together. And for me, I really was like a little bit disappointed and brokenhearted. And it's like, I don't even want to try to dream again. And I don't even like want to think about how this could possibly come up because I've tried and it's been a little bit embarrassing because, I share about this dream that I have and then I'm like, oh, like it fell through or like, oh, the bank said no or the title work came back bad, And so I was like, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but like we were so discouraged that like I don't even want to think about that. And then, I think like the writing came on the wall when we tried to subdivide and couldn't, exactly what you're saying. And then like the bank's like, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like you guys can build a house on that. We'll support you. Like here's and I was like, wait, this is happening, And it was like, I remember that conversation. It really did all click. I'm like, wait a second. Our dream's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it was already in front of us when we realized it could actually work. We weren't even planning. We had planned it other times. We had tried to force it, and I think that was part of the path as well. But like we had tried to force it, and like sitting here, we're like, oh wait, like here it is. It's already ready.
Walk me through some of the failed attempts because it sounds like those are pretty painful.
Yeah.
You said there was multiple iterations. What were you trying to do before you got to this point?
Yeah, I think the short ones were. So I ended up getting my skydiving license as well. And we actually lived in that sweet little camper on the airport right when we first got married.
For about a year.
We were renting out the Airbnb. Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
We had fun.
Free.
That was like
we had
literally.
money in our pocket.
Yes. Are you sensing a theme? So right across the street from the skydiving facility, there was a big pine farm.
Yeah, it was like 130 acres. It was a pine farm, tree farm.
So a lot of people in the skydiving community love taking their campers out. And I was like, wow, it would be so cool to have like a greenhouse where you could go, a campground. You go camp and then you have a greenhouse and you could watch people land their parachutes at the end of the day and like
Make
enjoy
a bar and grill. It was a government owned airport. We weren't allowed to have alcohol or anything to that nature. And people loved enjoying a beer and
Yeah.
watching skydiving.
Yeah.
And a lot of other skydiving facilities that aren't on government-owned airports have bars and grills, and they're very successful. And and it's really just a really fun environment, whether you're drinking or not. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so we're like, man, it would be cool if we could have this. And we were, getting some input from the FAA on having campers there in general, which we weren't supposed to. And we're like, let's build a campground, let's build a bar and grill, and started running these numbers and couldn't make it work on the whole 145 acres. Tried to subdivide that, couldn't make it work.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to harvest the trees, which is fair, and we just couldn't compete with that.
Yeah. And it was almost a relief that one fell through because, it was more built around, it was kind of a leach to a different business.
Yeah.
It's not really
And
my
we
game.
were gestating. So that was the first one. Then during COVID, we found a mountain bike, long story short, found a mountain bike park in Brevard, which we thought would be really cool. We had some title work issues, and it was a little bit too hospitality adjacent for even investors to get behind during COVID, which I saw it as such a great opportunity because everyone was mountain biking at the time.
Yeah.
But everyone was just so skittish. And
It got
so we had
really hot during
fundraising
that time.
issues.
Yeah. Like mountain bikes, you couldn't find them anywhere.
I know.
That's what we tried to explain to people. We're
yeah.
dude, here's the numbers, it's right here.
Everybody's mountain biking, but
got
all
it.
the investors with
I
money,
don't know if
they're not
anybody's
mountain
mountain
biking. They didn't have a clue. They're like, what's a mountain
You
bike?
guys don't get it.
No,
I don't understand.
You don't understand.
it's literally me all the time.
Just trust me, please.
I'm like, I have a good idea.
We had been under contract on that piece of property for a few months trying to make it work out. And then we had some title issues and it hit the fan.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number 2.
Yep.
What was the third one?
Third one was just another campground that was a friend of a friend, basically.
Basically nothing crazy, didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Just kind of a flop
So each of
in
those
mountains.
got progressively better.
Yeah.
To the
And closer,
a lot closer, but also less niche. So
Exactly.
it worked
It's
out.
a good theme.
Worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
So apart from the wedding venue, what else do you guys have your hands in?
good question. I have a cabinetry company. I do high-end custom cabinetry, millwork, passion in furniture. So I typically always try to incorporate that, and that's where I want it to go in the future anyway.
Sweet.
Yeah, there's not a huge story to it other than I just love building cool stuff. It's mostly passion.
Yeah.
And it is nice with the stuff that we do. That's where we actually see success in that because we don't put all our focus into it. I do from what I like designing, but we do get the opportunity to incorporate furniture, millwork, cabinetry into the stuff we create, which now we're actually getting a chance to do cooler stuff and do more with that. So, and hopefully in the future with some of our goals and dreams, they'll work hand in hand completely.
Yeah.
And be just basically one of the signatures.
Yeah.
Were you guys always entrepreneurial, or was there a noticeable event that sparked it for you?
I feel like I was one of the ones, just like most other guys in the South, that grew up cutting the neighbor's grass and stuff like that. And as soon as I got a license, I bought a trailer and got another mower and started doing that. Do it one day a week and go ride my dirt bike the other days of the week. But I've always been pretty entrepreneurial, but never. My parents weren't. They didn't, they didn't really teach much on the lending side. Mm-hmm. So I was very Dave Ramsey method of saving money, don't spend money, things like that. So it made being entrepreneurial very tough. I'm those don't really fully go together. You got to take a risk.
Investor,
yeah. This one, on the other hand, I don't know. I think it's the other way. She was we'll risk everything, but maybe
I have no fear.
Definitely entrepreneurial,
Terrifying.
but a little bit less on the entrepreneurial side. Yeah. And so that combined very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think that especially early on in our marriage and building our businesses together, we complemented each other really, really well because I also went and got my master's degree in real estate from UNCC and worked in development for Grub Properties for a while and then some private equity firms. So the numbers side of it and that side, I always felt very, very confident. But I struggled in the actual built environment. I hate to pull the girl card, but being a female in trades or in construction, it's hard. It's hard. And so my construction product was always falling short, and I understood it, but I just really had a hard time holding trades accountable, and contractors accountable. And that's a place that we've been able to work really good together of it's like I can figure out most of like the business modeling side, the financial modeling side, like all of that. And then he like definitely owns it on the construction side and like has my back on the owner's representation as it comes to the built environment. And you don't do like the general contracting, but it's like that liaison between
It's a lot of hand holding.
Me and the subcontractors, I think has like, we've definitely figured out like a good little good cop, bad cop situation.
Yeah.
Pre-relationship, I would have said no, there's not that much of an issue with like you being a female or anything to that nature. And now we've had so many experiences, like pretty much anytime we go to a meeting together, like here's an example, is we went to, you have a couple investors you work with. I was doing nothing on this project other than going on a car trip with my wife, and like going to go look at this building. At the beginning. Yeah. And go walk through a property. And we get there, and this happens all the time. This is just one example of it. We get there and every one of the guys walks up to me, shakes my hand, and kind of pushes her out of the way. And I'm like, I don't even work here. Like, I'm not the person you want to talk to. But it's funny at this point. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny at this point. And we just kind of look at each other, laugh, and just go on with it. Because, in a few minutes, they're gonna start talking to her, and they're going to be embarrassed, right? So, but it's a real thing.
But it's been nice because it's built my confidence having him. Because before, it's like, am I in my head? Like, am I overthinking this, or is it this hard for everybody? Like, I don't want to have an excuse.
Yeah.
But then once we started partnering on stuff and going to things together, I'm like, oh no. And like also getting his input too of like, no, you're not being dramatic. Like, this is actually how people are treating you. And like, he's been able to be that buffer. And I think once you like stepped into that role, like everything's been doing so much better since it's hard to work with your spouse. I think we're mostly figuring it out.
Yeah, we do pretty good.
Yeah.
What's been one of the ways that you've been able to overcome that or make light of it or kind of shove it back to the people that are trying to maybe look at you differently on job sites or whatever it is?
Yeah.
To answer the question for you, which is kind of ironic, but having an established business has been the game changer. Like, her name is on it, her face is on it. Like, that just gives a little more weight to it.
Yeah.
People have something to look at now.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, now the event space is done. Yeah, I think that's helped.
So going back to the beginning of your guys' investing career, what were some limiting beliefs that held you back at the beginning from doing more?
I don't think she had any. She was literally like, if she played poker, it would be all in first hand every time. I think for me, it's
me.
I'm the one that's like, all right, we got to figure some stuff out. Like, let's pump the brakes. Like, we talk about this, like, I am the more entrepreneurial one, but I would never start anything. Like, I have to figure out every detail of something I'm doing. And that relates to like what I actually do and what I actually enjoy to do, which is like building stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have to figure out all these problems so that I can build it right the first time, because I can't just scrap this, $3,000 worth of material. And so like my brain, I have to figure everything out. She's like, no, we'll figure it out.
Figure it out as we go.
We're both figure it out people, but it's figured out as we go. And I'm like, I'll figure it out before we start.
Yeah.
What a great balance.
It is.
What a great balance.
It's like sometimes there's friction, but I see it as a healthy friction. Like, I personally don't shy away from it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to push.
Yeah.
Because he probably has something to teach me. And I have no problem like yielding to that. But like some of the friction, like I learn a lot and I'm like kind of seeing where that boundary is. And then like we come to that conclusion together.
What's the biggest source of friction?
I think it's just timeline. Like, I want everything done yesterday.
I think it's what we're talking about is like, you're ready to go. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of problems with this conversation. And I can see those things. It's like my brain wants to figure everything out because it can. I'm good at that. Like, that's really where my strength lies.
I've also circumvented you and it has never worked out, just to be fair. Like, I've taken it on the chin a few times, Oh, no. Like just landscaping stuff where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead. Like, we have to get this done. We have a timeline. Let's do it. And he's busy because we have other businesses and stuff like that, so he's not as involved. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and handle it. And then it doesn't look good because Jonathan wasn't involved,
We'll have that, lapse in judgment moment where we're talking to each other. And I'll say like, hey, like I don't think this is going to work out. Like, I can give you the 900 reasons why, or you can just trust me. We've had moments where there hasn't been as much trust and there's good reasons behind it. Like, we've had these conversations. I'm like, yeah, I also get why you went forward with it. Like, it makes sense. And it hasn't worked out. and we deal with those. But
Yeah.
but we also probably wouldn't do anything right without each other. Like
I
we
know.
almost have to work together.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's great.
Yeah.
So are you guys all in on the wedding venue, or are you guys doing any other investing currently?
Yes. So we have 45 mobile homes.
I love mobile homes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great.
They're the best.
Okay. We have mobile homes, and we have 75 apartment units. We have like one apartment complex, which is great. So both of those were like tertiary market, high CapEx projects, but they're really cool because we partnered with a nonprofit. And we receive a lot of resources from that and a lot of really awesome ideas on how we can serve tenants. So like some of those things include we have a payment portal that allows them to pay weekly or to line it up with whatever their paychecks are. And there's a small servicing fee. I'm not trying to get rich off anything like that. It just kind of covers all bases. But it allows them, like if you get paid on the 1st and the 15th, we have a payment plan for that. If you get paid every Friday, we have a payment plan for that. And just like trying to really help them manage finances, because it's hard when you're, working different kinds of jobs and like going through a lot of different things as a family. So we're just trying to find ways to make those units as affordable as possible, and not even just on affordability perspective, but like how can we keep people current on their rent? Like the last thing I want is a delinquency. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for my tenants. So we have that. We have like, all different kinds of nonprofit things that we do. Like they did a bike build where they came into the neighborhood and they walked around and saw who needed a bike and like helped kids get bikes. And so the nonprofit's been really great. It's Southeastern Affordable Housing Authority.
Yeah.
And then they are the ones who kind of advocate with other nonprofits and be like, what does your neighborhood need? And then we'll come in and serve.
Yeah.
so
Are they
I really
subsidizing the housing at all, or are they just offering like support?
Yes, it's the support. And the support helps with my delinquency, right? So like that's where it comes in. It doesn't subsidize housing. It doesn't pay their bills. But like think about it. Like Christmas is the biggest time for delinquency because everyone wants to make sure their kids have things under the tree.
Right.
But if the Salvation Army comes into my neighborhood, knocks on everyone's door and is like, do you need help with Christmas? Like, let me take care of that for you. And we can get Christmas taken care of. I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
But also, I don't have delinquency problems in December from that.
That's great.
So that's kind of how we work together. We don't actually provide any of those services. We're kind of just more of a liaison.
Yeah.
But I think overall it makes the tenant experience a little bit better. And then we just strive for how can we be affordable, but also like love and care for people, right? It's not luxury apartments, but it's like we're going to make sure that you have a carbon monoxide detector, and we're going to make sure that your pipes don't leak and your windows are sealed.
Yeah.
Like, I still think those in affordable housing deserve dignity and respect.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to offer.
Are these, you guys own the homes, or is it you own the land?
We own the homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And that neighborhood is really unique because actually all of the parcels are individually deeded. So I've certainly contemplated what does it look like to sell these off to first-time home buyers, and doing something like that. We've been toying around with the idea and thinking about it because we do own the units. So it's kind of unique. Yeah.
And the apartment complex, is that a similar setup, or is that something separate?
It's an actual apartment complex. Yeah. Okay. But still in partnership with Saha.
Okay. Can anybody partner with this nonprofit?
Yes.
Or is it just like
I can give you their information. They're so sweet.
Very cool.
Yes.
Do I qualify? Would I qualify?
Probably. Yeah. They work with people who do single family rentals too.
Okay.
So probably.
I don't know if I'd qualify.
I think that they have some, they're pretty loose, but it's just like they don't want to partner with slumlords per se. But again, they don't have super high expectations. They're just like, if the roof leaks, like you're going to fix it. If there's a hole in the ground, you're going to fix it. Again, like just basic dignity and respect. And then with that trade, they do offer some of these. Another really cool thing that they do is working with Spectrum, which we didn't happen to have Spectrum where we were. But they run the line to the neighborhood. And then technically the neighborhood, like in my case, I would be the guarantor for the apartment complex. But then they offer it at a discounted rate, like $10 per unit. And that gives, and you can just bake it into rent, or you can like do an extra service fee. However, people do it all different ways. But when people have access to internet, right, like test scores go up for kids.
Yeah.
Kids get better resources, and parents can sometimes work from home, which helps them make extra money, which again, lower delinquency. Because not everybody, but most people really want to pay their rent, you know?
Yeah.
Not saying everybody is that way, but thank God all of our tenants are. Like, they really have that desire. And so if we can help make that happen for them, like, we like to put in those different resources if we can.
I'm seeing a common theme between all of the stuff that you guys do. There's a lot of intentionality behind it. Mm-hmm. It's not like this, oh, we'll do this and do this. There's a lot of investors that have the shiny object syndrome where they're going after different things. But it sounds like everything you guys are doing, there's a level of intentionality behind it. Like the apartment complex, you know, whether it's that or the wedding venue, like there's a lot of thought behind it, and it's not just for making money. Mm-hmm. Does that sit well?
Yeah. I think especially like now with a young family, it's like I have so many professional aspirations and dreams to be intentional, and then also like something I feel like you're really good about is like parenthood first and making sure to, so yes, everything that you said, but the first intention is like supporting our kids and building a life that like allows us to be really present with them. Mm-hmm. And then everything else kind of trickles out from that. But you know what too is like when you're around your kids all of the time, like I really, really try to emulate some of their character traits too, you know, like they're so sweet, and like for the most part they're always looking out for other people, and they're like little kids are the most intentional things, you know. And so I don't know, I try to build my business in a way that like they would, but not like a 3-year-old, but like having that same intentionality and like sweetness behind it, and not losing that, because the business world is like so vicious and you want to be jaded like so quick. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, like I know that maybe that thing didn't work out, but like I don't want to lose. I want to be smart, but I don't want to like lose that sweetness and that innocence either.
Yeah. Money's a made up thing. It's kind of the way I look at it. Like it shouldn't be the driving factor. It should be something that's nice to have. And you know, like if I started this conversation or this process with $1 million in my pocket or $2 million in my pocket, then you know, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. We'd be a lot farther on. Everything would be easier, and there wouldn't be struggle, and there wouldn't be a story behind it. But like at the end of the day, like we together, as well as myself, we just want to do cool stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And later on, I want to say I have a cool story, but that's the goal. You need money to do it. So these things need to be successful. They need to make money, and you kind of have to find a balance. But we're like, her and I are always going to push the side of it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. It's going to bring people together.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
So,
sorry.
You have something to say?
Oh, yeah. Kind of. I think like I just had a moment, and I don't know, it's like a little bit of an aside. We always want to build cool stuff, and I will say it has been really cool over like the last 18 months to have so many no's on the event space side specifically. Like raising money for the apartment complex or like the mobile home, like that was a breeze. You know, that was like a few phone calls, and people are like, yeah, sign me up. I love affordable housing. Everybody loves affordable housing. But the event space, like, wow, like we had to duke that one out. And it's so cool now to like be standing in the space that we're standing in, and like starting to become like a noticeable thing, and being like, I told you so. It is really cool. Anyways.
Go back to the people who said no.
Yeah, I would never. But it's like, it's just like so validating. Mm-hmm. Like on this side of things of like, yeah, I want to build cool stuff, but like, how do I do that? And like feeling like it was impossible. And now I'm like, okay, like it is possible. And then
how often those people that said no, when we do these things, the day after we do these things, we get a phone call from them saying, hey, I've kind of been thinking about doing this. I've been thinking about building an event space.
Okay, that has been
It's happened with so many of the things that we've done. Like, I just really, you know, like you got me thinking it's a really good idea. I'm like, why wasn't it a good idea 6 months ago before we finished it? You know,
when I needed just like a little bit more money.
So what is it? Is it that these people are coming back and they're seeing the attention from it? Are they seeing the money from it? Like, what is it? You know,
I hope to be inspiring. Like, all jokes aside, like, yeah, I mean, it is funny, like I told you so. But I mean, also, I'm like, that's fine. Like, go for it.
You should be flattered.
You should.
Yeah.
You should do it. Like, let's go. Let's build cooler things. I'm tired of gray apartments, too. Like, if you want to build something cool right next to mine, you do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm going to do it better than
I'll just do, I just have to be better.
That's been commonly said in our house.
Has it?
Yep. Because, you know, we have ideas that we've put to the side, and now we're seeing people do them. And, you know, it's like, well, do we still want to do it? Is it going to make money? Is the market saturated? And it's like, I'm always going to do it better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So, no.
Service matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's Airbnbs. That was a huge trend, and everybody's jumping on that. I even jumped on it at one point, thinking, "Yeah, I could do it." I mean, it's the thing, but it's the people that do it intentionally and that are actually running it well that stand out. Like the people that are crushing it in those asset classes, they're doing it intentionally. You know, so if the people that are just going after it just for the money, just for the cash flow, they're going to get burned out because
they're going to try to walk away from it too early before it's functioning and self-sustainable is usually the basis of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you quantify your level of risk tolerance? I feel like I know the answer to this, but
It's 10. I have a high risk tolerance, and 1 is I have a low risk tolerance. Sure. I think where I'm at today, I'm probably about an 8. I'm only pulling that back from a 10 because building the Lumen House as like the first unique asset was incredibly risky. That was like a 12. But now I've done it, and I feel like I have more knowledge now. So the exact same investment, if I were to copy and paste it and do it a second time, it's not as risky, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've learned so much. So I'd say an 8.
I think the next shiny object that comes in front of our faces, that's not going to be a true statement.
I know.
This is a 12, Jonathan. I'm a 12 on this.
I'm a very patient person.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah. Gladly. I mean,
you have to answer. Are you a 1 or a 10 or in between?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I mean, I personally, if we weren't together, I mean, I wouldn't see the point in taking much of the risk, you know, just whatever repeated, but being together, I mean, like we're like 20.
So she's pulled you up.
Yeah.
She's elevated your risk tolerance.
He feels like it's super risky, and it's like not a risk.
And I'm okay with it. But
Okay, so multiple businesses, kids, a large property to take care of.
Yeah.
cows,
chickens, kids.
Yeah,
I
kids.
do. I mean, you were telling me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some disciplines that you guys have that keep you focused, sharp, and constantly chasing after those goals that you guys have?
Good question.
Me to answer first.
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
We always look at each other because I'm like, if you have something to say, I don't want to cut you off. I always have things to say. I am a morning person. And if I don't like keep that discipline, which is sometimes reasonable because there are little kids, and like it's just part of being a mom, like to be up a lot in the middle of the night. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to sleep in because I don't want my cortisol levels to be too high if I wake up before I get like a, but it's so true. Like if I don't get that discipline of like waking up before my kids, then I feel like frazzled all day. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I don't know if this is a discipline more than it is a mindset of just acceptance of like, being a parent and also being someone who like truly loves and enjoys my career. Like I could just stay home and just do that. But like, there's a part of me that like loves real estate. Like I love buildings, you know, I love my kids more, but like, I really do enjoy what we get to do. And so I would go to work, and then the whole time I would be like thinking about my kids, missing them. And then I would go home and I would be glued to my phone because I was thinking about work. And then I'm just irritated at everybody all the time and not getting what I wanted. So now something that I've been working on is just being content and like focused no matter what space it is, but then also allowing for the gray, which I don't think dads have as much of that as moms do. But like my kids are going to come with me to set up the flower bar, and they're going to take 4 times as long. And like, not all the yellow flowers are going to all be together by the end. And that's okay, you know, because like I got that quality time with them and it looks mostly good. And like we all had a good time doing it. And when I find that like space in between where I get to fulfill like the work stuff that I like really want to do, and be a mom, like that's where I feel most satisfied. Does that answer your question?
I mean, it's good enough.
Okay.
For me, I mean, I know that like I can do one thing really well. I can't do a lot of things really well. And so I need time to clear my head, which is tough sometimes, especially in a house with kids running around, which is great.
All girls.
It's not a complaint. Everyone in the house is girls, and that means a lot of words in the day. I mean, you get one of these kids alone in the car, and they'll say more words than I've said in 2 years. So getting all three up, well, one of them can't talk yet, but that will happen. So getting, it doesn't take that much. But getting some time to myself, honestly, is just really, as crazy as it sounds, this is one of the most important things for me. To be able to get some of the other thoughts out of my head, because I can do one thing really well. So I have to focus on the one thing, and I'm really good at prioritizing, and I can focus on the one thing that's in front of me if I can have some time to reset. And I don't mean hours, but sometimes it might be going on a mountain bike ride. Sometimes it might just be more time in the shop to like build something by myself on a weekend versus having other people running around asking me questions.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Do you guys still go skydiving?
no.
So Indy has, I can't remember if it's 40 or 60 jumps now that I did while I was expecting her, which is fun. And I think Mila has like a handful, but basically when I was pregnant with our second, which we have 3 now, but when we were pregnant with our second, we both kind of stopped at that point and just went on current.
For me, I mean, I would like the year Indy was born, I think I did like 450 skydives.
Wow.
Yeah. And after she, like that year after she was born, like something changed, like chemically, I don't know, but like I started thinking about other things, and like on a thing where you are so center focused from a person that is very center focused, like started getting other thoughts. It's just like, it wasn't about me anymore.
Wow.
So I started like, I think I did 50 jumps the next year. And then the year after that, I was like, I'm done. Something I love that like completely filled my life. I did every day of the week. Just like lost all interest immediately. Changed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How powerful that responsibility that kicks in as a parent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
That's so true.
It was instant. And I it took me even a couple years to really be able to like accept like really is what it was. But
are you okay with it?
Yeah. It's like, that's just the thing, is like that priority just has changed. Like it's not a priority anymore,
Yeah.
And that's where I was confused in a way, is I was like, I wanted it to be priority. Like I still had these goals, and I'm like, I didn't meet these goals. And like, I'm a perfectionist and I have to meet these goals. And I didn't. And I was just like, I was okay with walking away from that.
Yeah.
And that's what was weird. And that's what like bothered me and like had conflict about in a way. And that's happened with a few other things, not in an extreme sense, but like your priorities just change quickly with kids. So
Definitely. So what have been some of the most strategic relationships you guys have had in business that have gotten you to where you're at today?
I think this is like a little bit piggybacking on the last question because we haven't talked about it, but we do both enjoy the gym. And it's so interesting how like that group of people shapes you so much, where like you have that shared like lifestyle where you enjoy working out. And I don't know, I just feel like we have so much alignment with everybody at the gym and just seeing each other every day and having that accountability. But it's accountability that like believes in you, like whether it's what you're doing with a barbell or what you're doing professionally or as a family. Like we've just found so much alignment with that community. I would say that's probably one of the biggest ones.
I agree with that. It's also been interesting for us because there's not too many people not that there hadn't been any people that have encouraged us and helped us and taught us things, I'm not denying any of that, but we've built things that are different. And if we took everybody else's outside influence and listened to all the advice we were given, we would probably still be in a camper. So one of the more important things for me is like, don't let all these other voices get in your head.
You're so good at that. I'm really social and I love professional development. Love it. Like, oh my gosh, you send me one Instagram ad for a mastermind, I'm like swiping up. I'm like, yes, sign me up for the mastermind. I really enjoy learning. And there's also a point where you need to just like turn it off and like get inside your own head and just like get the thing done. And I feel like we got to that place. Like we had started construction and I was just like, I don't know. I was also expecting Noah at the time. So we were pregnant with our third when we were going through construction. And I feel like something in my mind changed too, where I used to be like very social and I was like a part of a bunch of different Bible studies and a bunch of masterminds and like had a coffee with somebody like every day to talk about like business strategy, which is so valuable. But I just felt like very full in like that like arena of life. And I feel like I just like went inward in a way and just like finished construction. And now I feel like I'm at a place where I'm like ready to be social again. But like when your nose is to the grindstone working, like sometimes you just got to finish and like get what's in your head out of your head.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember this, I think I was like 6 or 8 years old, somewhere in there, this sermon at church one day. And basically the pastor was saying, it's like, in some sense, stop coming to church. He was saying like, you know, you come in here every Sunday and you learn about God. And he's like, at some point you have to stop learning about God and you have to take it out and you have to teach other people. You have to share it. And like, that stuck with me in such an interesting way. And like with everything else that I've done of like, I have the information, I have the knowledge. I have to use that knowledge before I need to get more knowledge from other people.
Yeah.
Like, let's apply this and then we can go back and learn more. When I need help, I'll ask for help.
So your guys' CrossFit gym has been super important just with networking and encouragement.
Yeah. And friendship.
It's one of the only places we actually like go out and connect with people. So maybe it's not a CrossFit thing, but it also is. Like we have beliefs around that. But you know, we don't go out and socialize much, but we go to the gym every day and we socialize with the people there, and which we've switched gyms in the past and it's kind of always been the same thing.
Which gym do you guys go to?
Right now we're at Deepwell. We've been at 926 for like the 4 or 5 years before that. We just switched. They're both great.
Which we did not want to leave.
Thing.
We just moved and finally let go of that area. So
you know what's wild is even for me looking back, all of my initial connections, relationships in real estate and business that provided me the launching pad that I needed were all from the CrossFit gym that I was at.
Really?
Yes.
And
without a doubt.
Cabarrus. Okay, cool.
Yeah, all of the guys, like some of my original mentors, like the guy who helped me get my very first flip, property manager, you know, guys who helped me get into new construction, all this stuff, it all came from CrossFit. Yeah. It's like that environment breeds people who are just cut from a different cloth.
Yeah.
As crazy as it is in that workout methodology, you know, some people turn their nose up to it. It's the people who are willing to wake up and go to the gym at 5, 6 a.m. or even do it after work. They just think differently.
Yeah.
They're dedicated. They're committed. It's such a great environment for somebody to be in to make connections like that.
Yeah. I have this belief around too, like you have to break yourself down mentally and physically to create true connection. Like when you do that with other people, when you like share that pain and share that suffering, even if it's for a 5-minute workout, like Fran, right? Like, but you do that together, like you've shared something, like you've gone through the same thing and you've gone through it together, and it becomes so much easier to connect with people and share information and talk and trust.
What's your Fran time?
I could lie. I don't actually.
You don't have to answer that. I don't want public.
I'm not sub 3.
Just over 3?
So I think I'm trying to remember. We're low 4s. Yeah.
Low 4s.
Somehow it's not my best workout. I'm great at gymnastics, but no.
That's awesome.
What are you?
Yeah.
What am I?
Yeah.
I have not done a CrossFit workout in a while. Probably like 9 months.
Wow.
Maybe a little less. But that was like 2:37. I think that was my best Fran time.
That's so fast.
You know, in 2016, no, I'm not going to go there.
No, come on. You started.
I'm not going to go there.
You started. No. And I was just thinking, too, I was like, oh, we need to ask him more questions.
No. This is not about me.
It is now.
So the gym that I ran in India, you know, when they did the open, they would categorize it by country. I was the 3rd fittest man in India.
That's pretty
2016.
Awesome. That's pretty awesome.
1.2 billion people, and I was number 3. There's only 180 people on the leaderboard.
That's incredible. That truly is incredible.
Yeah. It's actually not as cool as you think it is if you really look into it, but I wear it like a badge of honor.
You should.
Yeah. And you know what, though? That's another aside. When you travel and go to a CrossFit gym, I think that's like one of my favorite things about traveling. And it's so funny because everybody else on vacation, they're like, why are you going to the gym? Like, you are nuts. And I'm like, it is so cool to see how other gyms
Yes.
operate.
And connect.
And connect, and like, I love that. So
Because those are the people that you would hang out with
Yeah.
back home. I mean, it's the same kind of culture in different locations, and they probably have great recommendations for
Everything.
restaurants and things to do. I mean, that's
And it really is like almost always, whether it's in the U.S., whether it's, I mean, I've only been out of the country once, but no, a couple times, but it's almost always the same. Like no matter what gym you go to, like it really is like you walk in and you feel like you're at home.
Yeah. The kilo thing gets me though.
The kilo.
When you travel abroad, I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what weight this is.
They're color coded. So.
you know, CrossFit's for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
I think
listed
private equity's trying to buy it or has an offer on the table. That's what I heard.
We'll talk about that one later.
Anyways, okay. Looking back on where you guys have started,
Yeah.
how has real estate changed your life?
Cool. Sorry, I know I'm taking a long time to answer, but I love the built environment. You know, like I definitely love the math side of it and like the puzzle piece that is putting together a deal. Like I absolutely love that. And I also truly love creating spaces for connection. And it's like, it's so cool because people spend 70-80% of their lives inside. So it's like, why would we make that ugly? And I really do see it as like a piece of my purpose, to get to make cool spaces. And I don't know. I feel like it just like is part of who I am, honestly.
It's
at this
really
point.
changed our lives more than just grown.
I've been in real estate now for like 13, 14 years, you know, which is like starting to feel like a long time. And I just can't imagine. Like, I don't know if you could separate me from it at this point because like I truly love it and appreciate it so much and appreciate spaces and like every little detail. And I can't imagine going a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Same answer.
Good answer.
Nice.
Yeah.
If people want to keep up with you guys, how can they do that?
Yeah. I mostly.
Yeah, don't follow me. I don't post.
You gotta send like smoke signals to this guy. Don't know how anyone gets a hold of him.
It's true.
I have to like ring a dinner bell or something. Like that's it. I'm on Instagram. Yeah. So just like my personal handle is usually the best way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also check out the Lumen House.
Yeah. We do a bunch of events and hopefully this year we'll be doing some public events too. So that'll be really fun.
Mm-hmm. People really need to check it out. Like it's the most unique wedding venue that I've seen.
Thank you.
Very well put together. So
yeah, we are in the works of planning some like in-house events and stuff that we're going to do. Invites, we're going to do some other ticketed different things to that nature. So
sweet. Good deal. Awesome. Thanks guys for coming on today.
Thank you so much. That was so fun.